Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of April 8th through the 14th of 2024. All right, so this week is a very important week astrologically. We've got a solar eclipse on Monday, right at the beginning of the week, and it is in Sidereal Pisces, the constellation that deals with having more receptivity in our life, more mental health, spiritual health, and doing things that are more soul aligned. So we've already had the energy here with almost all the fast moving planets in here, aside from Mars. And so it's really a new beginning in terms of cultivating this side of ourself. Now it is a North Node eclipse, which means that it's really the future life path. And so it really marks the next 6 months of developing more of that receptive energy and really just new beginnings in our life in general. Now the solar eclipse will be conjunct Chiron, the healing comet. It's going to be in a very close conjunction actually within 1 degree. So definitely a great month for focusing on healing. And this can be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual healing, whatever it might mean. But great to set that intention as well with this. So early part of the week, just good to listen, see what new arises out of this, maybe set the intentions for the lunar month, also for the year as well, let's say, and really kicking things off in terms of our life path and really new beginnings starting to emerge out of this week regarding our path. So we also have Mars over Saturn on Wednesday, and so also like a new beginning, but here in terms of our long-term goals, matching with our short-term goals. So this is a great time to see maybe how we can take time with things, and in many ways a new beginning for the next 2.5 years with this particular conjunction. And then on Thursday we have Mercury retrograde going over the sun, which marks the halfway point of the Mercury retrograde that we're currently in at the moment. So it's still a week of rethinking, redoing, reworking, and around Thursday we could notice maybe a shift of awareness of this, maybe something shifting with these things that we've been redoing or rethinking, and getting some awareness from that as well. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, April 8th. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel. If you were expecting me to say that this solar eclipse was in Aries, then definitely check out the link down below for more information, because we are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology, which unfortunately does not use the visible sky. And so the signs are different. If you're new, definitely check out the link down below for more information. All right, so here we have all of the fast moving planets aside from Mars in Pisces as part of this solar eclipse. A solar eclipse is when we have a new moon next to one of the lunar nodes. The lunar nodes are the life path parts of the sky, and it's where the sun and moon paths intersect. And so when we have a new moon on that intersecting path, it is an eclipse. And so here it is definitely a new beginning to our life path. The North Node is the future path. And really what the Hindus would say is building karma in this life. Now, of course, we can build karma in healthy and balanced ways, but it is very good to, of course, build healthy new karma, or what we might call our dharma, the highest expression or the healthiest expression of our life path. So this is all happening in the constellation of Pisces, the fish, which is symbolic for swimming in life and being connected to the oceans of life and to all of life, really, with the fish being connected by the string, as is the constellation. And so it's a great time to really set new intentions with bringing in more receptivity into our life. This is really a new beginning to our life path in order to continue, as the North Node has already been here, continue to develop this receptive energy, to listen to our soul, connect more with our inner selves, connect more with our intuition, and bring in more of this spiritual, mental health energy into our lives. And so anything that does align with this, I think, is great, but we're going to likely notice these new beginnings emerging out of Monday. And so as it's always good to listen around these very important new beginning times, see both what we want to cultivate, but also what is life calling us to cultivate. So to listen, to see what new does emerge out of this new beginning and how we can cultivate this energy for, in the short term, the next lunar month, as this starts, of course, the lunar cycle. But because the North Node is such an important point here in the sky, we could say for the next year, right? We have eclipse seasons every 6 months. 6 months from now, we'll have the lunar eclipse here, which will be the halfway point. But if we want to set the intention for the next year in terms of cultivating more receptivity in our life, I think this is fantastic. Now, it's very important to mention that this solar eclipse is in a very, very close conjunction with Chiron, the healing comet. And so with this more receptivity, I would say it's fantastic to cultivate more of the healing energies of our life. So again, both in intention to heal and anything we want to do during this month or year in this context, I think is fantastic. But also again, to listen and see where maybe life is helping us heal or calling us to heal. Sometimes Chiron can be felt like we have to move through some wounds in order to really embrace them, embrace all parts of ourselves, including the wounded parts of ourselves. And by doing these things in the face of any wounds, we can heal and transform. Chiron really is the part of ourselves that, although we might feel wounded with, we're actually very good with. We tend to overcompensate with throughout our lives. And so know that if there is anything that comes up that is regards to healing, and again, this could be physical as well, but know that when we're involving Chiron, it can mean that we're definitely really good with it, okay? And it's really a matter of reclaiming, reconnecting with that part of ourselves. And in that way, it can be very healing and therapeutic. All right, so that's how I would classify the solar eclipse. It is in a semi-sextile with the Jupiter and Uranus conjunction that we have coming up here later this month, and what will be really part of the next lunar cycle in May 8th. And so maybe a little bit of a prelude, a little bit of a heads up in regards to maybe some new opportunities, some things we've been a little bit open-minded about. It might feel like we still have some growth to do, some evolution to do in order to bring in some of these inspirations or possibilities or excitements, as this conjunction can often bring. But again, I would read it more like a prelude gearing up for the next month in terms of activating those inspirations, possibilities, things we've been open-minded with there with that increasing conjunction. All right, so this is definitely the most important thing here this week. It is concentrated on Monday. Great to, again, listen. It is the lowest energy of the lunar cycle, and so it's good to, again, let the energies be low, listen. It's more of a spiritual time. It's an inward time. Great for meditation, of course, spiritual activities, as is the case for eclipses anyways. But again, it's in Pisces, which is bringing in more of that spiritual energy into our lives and more of that connection with our soul. And there is that very, very close conjunction with Chiron and the eclipse. Very, very close there. All right, so that's Monday. The moon will still be in Pisces early Tuesday. As we start to get to later Tuesday, the moon will shift into Aries, although we'll definitely still be in that eclipse energy. I would say that the later part of Tuesday and all day Wednesday is really good for taking some initiative in our life. That's good, slow initiative, as we'll still be in the early phase of the lunar cycle. But anything that requires a bit of assertiveness, action, initiative, independence, I think can be great ways of working with that cycle. And again, maybe these are the early phases of what new can be developed here. Now, on this Wednesday, we do have Mars over Saturn. And so this is really also like a new beginning, as all conjunctions really are. And this would be with the 2.5 year, really maybe closer to 3 year conjunction or cycle between Mars and Saturn. So really, what are some intentions you want to set, let's say, for the next 3 years in regards to what you want to establish, in regards to what you know will take time, what will take patience, what will take perseverance on your part, especially in regards to your goals. What do you want? What do you desire? This is Mars. Mars is the immediate desires, but when over Saturn, it's a reminder that a lot of things in life take time, and that's good to align to the more long-term side of things. So any intentions around that on Wednesday, I think is fantastic. We've already had a lot of this stuff going on, as the other fast movers have already passed over Saturn over the past month or so. And so really nothing new here. And so I would say it's another step in the right direction in terms of these long-term things that we could be building. It could deal with future aspirations being in Aquarius. It could deal with collective matters, community, friends, groups, being a part of something greater than ourselves, contributing to something, technology, even innovation. Any of this forward visionary stuff, I think is great to set that intention. But again, nothing new here. This is just the last of the fast movers passing over Saturn, as has already been the case there. All right, and then as we do get to Thursday, we will have Mercury retrograde over the Sun, marking the halfway point. This is, again, still a good time for rethinking, reworking, but here we could notice that maybe there are some shifts of awareness or insight. It's usually more on the unconscious side of insights, especially in Pisces like this. It's not like so much aha moments where it becomes very practical and tangible. It's definitely more intuitive, I would say. And so just good to listen there around Thursday in terms of any new perspectives, new what could be then ideas, but really this shift of new perspective on life and what has been maybe being redone or reworked during the previous week and a half of this, as it's the halfway point of the 3-week Mercury retrograde. So the previous week and a half, what have we been redoing? What have we been rethinking? And maybe there's some shifts, maybe even some things moving forward in a sense in regards to that, as this is in many ways a new beginning between the Mercury and Sun cycle. All right, so that's Thursday. Thursday, we'll have the moon in Taurus, and that'll actually take us with the moon in Taurus all the way up until mid-Saturday. And so for this later part of the week, I think it's great for a bit of groundingness. The moon actually does like to be here. By this point, we will be building a little bit more momentum in the cycle, things making a little more sense in terms of what is coming into this cycle from the solar eclipse. And so with Taurus, just a great time to be a bit grounded, maybe connect with our inner and outer resources in life, inner resources like self-worth, self-value, that inner strength, and also externally as well. Nature, abundance, resources, maybe some luxuries, some comforts, some enjoyments in life, I think can be great with that. So that's up until mid-Saturday. Then from late Saturday into Sunday, the moon will go into Gemini, and here's where we will start to enter into the first quarter moon into next week, which is where we can really start to challenge ourselves in the cycle. It is what many consider the first challenges of the lunar cycle, but it is good to challenge ourselves here. So how can we really start to integrate and implement those new beginnings from the solar eclipse? And I would say with Gemini, it's great to see how we can be curious, how we can learn, how we can implement maybe some of this, again, soul-guided energy from Pisces in very practical, tangible, and sometimes even sociable sort of ways with Gemini here, okay? But in either case, a great late weekend there for all things mental, curious, interested, and a little bit social as well with the moon in Gemini. And Mercury will pass over Chiron early next week, so anything late Sunday in regards to healing with that side of ourselves, with that Gemini side of ourselves, with that communications, maybe curiosity and interest, could actually be quite healing and therapeutic, okay? But that'll be mostly into Monday of next week. All right, everyone, so that is the week in a nutshell. Most important thing, of course, is the solar eclipse on Monday. This is new beginnings, new dharma, you could say, in terms of developing now these new Pisces energies in our life. More receptivity, more acceptance, more faith and trust in life for the divine process of things, having more peace and spiritual and mental health in our lives, connecting with our intuition, connecting with our spiritual selves. These are all very good things to set, and I think we'll notice collectively new beginnings with this, and of course this can all be very healing and therapeutic with Chiron here. The Mars-Saturn conjunction suggests new beginnings for the next 3 years in regards to what takes time, patience, and perseverance. And so any long-term goals that can be aligned with that, I think is fantastic. We have the halfway point of the Mercury retrograde this week, but maybe some new perspectives or some things starting to shift around the halfway point on Thursday. All right, and then by the end of the week, starting to build some momentum in the lunar cycle, and then good to start to integrate, implement the solar eclipse energy in the first quarter moon. All right, so everyone have a fantastic solar eclipse. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you haven't yet gotten your True Sidereal report, there's a link down below for that. There's a free version and a paid version if you would like. There's a link you can check out down below. But have a great one, everyone, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.